From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew.
Hello and welcome to episode 175 of the Blind Android Users podcast. I'm Ed Green and I'm joined today by my co-hosts Warren Carr, Austin Pinto, Karine Kawan and John Dyer. And we're coming to you on Saturday the 13th of April 2024. We'll have our usual announcements and news section. Then in Android Basics, we've got a double bill this week. We talk about the very exciting release of Android 15 Beta 1. And we also talk about Google's new, or perhaps better, revamped Find My Device network. In the app of the week, Warren demonstrates the radio app Streadio. We have the next in our series on Jisho from Karine, where she revisits sound scheme creation. And we have a tip of the week where Warren shows you how to turn on the auto-filling of SMS codes for all those two-factor authentication type login scenarios you might find yourself in. Well, how are we all? Austin, you've not been so well this week, have you?
This has been a most rough week for me. I'm coming straight out of the hospital into recording, as I had stomach pains from Monday and then chicken pox from Wednesday. And so I went to hospital on Friday, although I was getting treated by my family doctor, but the treatment could not be managed. So I went to hospital on Friday, got admitted, and came out today evening with the stomach pain recovered and the chicken pox. The boils are breaking and releasing some fluids out. So that is the week of this week for me. Not a very healthy week. So let's see what next week brings. I hope I don't have to go to the hospital again, and we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Normally on the podcast, we have to contend with someone's internet being spotty. This time it's Austin being spotty. But yes, fully.
This time I'm spotty.
Yep. Please do look after yourself and get fully recovered soon. But it's great that they have released you from the hospital. Karine, how are you?
I'm fine. Everything is going well. And well, I have a news that I purchased a new phone today. So I don't know if it will
Excellent.
be a good upgrade or not.
Woohoo! Nice. What you got, girl?
Yeah. So I bought the A54, 5. I'm sorry, the A55, and yeah,
Nice.
I think it's good, but I will keep the details for next week. Maybe I will do a review.
I think you should do the unboxing first.
Actually, you don't need to do an unboxing for this device because it doesn't have anything in the box. It's good that they have a box, actually.
I love it.
Can you remind us what that replaces, Karine? What were you on before?
It was the A71.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That should be a nice upgrade then.
Yeah, it should be. Actually, it was released in 2019, and it was running the Snapdragon 730. So yeah, and it wasn't waterproof and doesn't have stereo speakers. So yeah, I think compared to the A71, the new A55 is better.
Oh yeah, you'll notice a world of difference, I think, with that. John Boy, how are you?
I'm doing good. I actually went on a family trip this past week. Monday was my wife and my son's birthday, and it was also the eclipse here in the U.S. So we drove almost 600 miles to go see it. So that was cool. We went to Cleveland, Ohio.
Nice. Was it particularly good there, or was there any particular reason to go to Cleveland to see it?
Yeah, it was just the nearest city to us that was in the path of totality. So anywhere from Texas up through New York, there were certain cities that were going to get the full eclipse where it got completely dark and the sun was blocked by the moon, like completely. So we went there to see it, and I was able to kind of see it. Was able to see it enough to capture a pretty good video of it. It doesn't come through in the video how it is supposed to look, but yeah, we got to see it, and it was cool. We were downtown. Everybody was outside. Lots of cheering and stuff. So it was a cool experience.
Nice. That sounds really good. And I saw there were various different representations for the blind, and I saw a little digest of them of how people did it. Some with sound, some with AD. So yeah, it's good that the tech industry kind of lent in and helped people experience it alternatively as well if you weren't there and couldn't see it in person.
In the news, there were some devices that made Eclipse accessible for us. John, did you manage to use them?
No, I'm not sure what you're even talking about.
They're basically things that, make noises and all of that. I think there's an app on both the Fruitvale and Android that does that, gives people that feel. But I don't know how you tell something from hearing the sound, but I guess it will make sense. I don't know.
And then, as I say, you had a few audio description. I think Ira did something. I think a couple of other companies did as well. So you had a range of options if you were so interested. Warren, how are you? You had a good week?
I had a good week. Of course, my luck, I woke up this morning having a little headache, but it's not something that's going to prevent me from doing this podcast. And Austin, I'm glad you're back. And be sure to lock that chicken in a box so that it doesn't come out, infecting your family members and all of that. But frankly, we are glad to have you back home.
So how are you, Ed? How was your week?
I've had not a bad week. There's a big horse race in the UK called the Grand National today. Has about 34 runners. I think there are actually 32 today because a couple of late withdrawals. And I normally back sort of 5 horses in that. And I got the first and the fourth. And it's the second year in a row I backed the winner. So I have a little bit of extra money, not very much, but a few extra beer tokens courtesy of that. So I was quite happy. That happened about 4 o'clock this afternoon. I watched that on TV, which was good.
Enough for beer, right?
Yeah, I think I think I staked about $60 and doubled it. So £50. So I basically doubled my money. So not gonna pull up any trees, but nonetheless, nice takeout or something or beer. Yeah.
And now, the announcement segment. This is a segment dedicated to things we want you to be in the know. And now for this week's episode, here's your announcements.
Well, let's turn to our announcement section. Any announcements, Austin? Do you want to touch on the app Bonanza?
So the app Bonanza, as we had announced previously, is on 27th of April. Everyone, please do send in your app demos to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And also, if you remember today in the show title, it is our episode 175. And we could only get to this mark by our listeners and partners. So big thanks to Accessible Android, who is our sister site, and partner Top Tech Tidbits, who publishes our podcast episodes each Thursday without any forgettation from them. So, and also to our YouTube support team who helped us get our channel back one day it was hacked. So thanks to them also. So this is to all the episode 175. Unfortunately, I could not open a bottle today because I just came out of the hospital, but I will do it later.
Excellent. Yeah, 175. It's a fine milestone, and just shy of 6 months off episode 200, I suppose, which will be a big one. But yeah, thank you everyone for sustaining us through this. There'd be no point in us doing it if you weren't interested. So thank you for your listenership and comments and feedback. It's much appreciated.
And talking about the app Bonanza, guys, we haven't received any single app demos from you guys. So I think from today, though, is that 2 weeks we got until the 27th? So in 2 weeks,
Yeah,
right? We'll
2 weeks.
be doing that app bonanza. So if you want a big app bonanza like what we had during the first quarter of this year, then please send us those apps because we depend on you guys. Contribute if you can contribute. Otherwise, we may not be having a lot of apps. So feel free and send us those apps that you like. It could be something that's already existing on your phone. So look at your phone. There may be an app that you like, one of your favorite apps. Just go ahead and demonstrate that and send it to us. That's all that we're asking for. So it's not that difficult, and believe me, if I can do it, you can do it. So just look through your phone, see an app that you like. If we haven't done it, just go ahead and do it and send it to us. Check our YouTube channel to be sure.
We are not only
So,
talking about apps, but this also includes games. So you can send in your game demos also.
and do you think for the app bonanza, someone should demonstrate an app on which you can stream bonanza? That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Oh, that would be nice.
An app for
Absolutely.
bonanza on the app bonanza.
Yes,
Yeah,
we should.
that would be good.
And maybe we should look up on the Play Store and see if there's such an app. You've
I bet
given me
that's
an
so on
idea.
That must be on bonanza. Must be on Pluto TV, mustn't it? That's got like all the really old TV shows no one wants anymore, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Pluto's got to have bonanza, surely.
Yeah, so I'll go digging on the Play Store to see if there's an app called the Bonanza. I would like to demo that on the app Bonanza. I think that will be a cool idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the series must be on Pluto TV, or something like that. Anyway, yeah. So please do that. And then in announcement newsy type things, the messaging app Beeper. This is I guess the message aggregator, the one that's supposed to bring all your messaging services together. Not iMessage, they tried and failed. That has now been bought, hasn't it, Warren, by the folks that own WordPress, Automattic.
It did got, bought out. And so, 125 mil is no small change. And so, frankly, Fruitvale kind of banned them. However, I think it was a blessing in disguise. And, the guys from Automattic saw the potential of the app and decided to, shell out some moolah to buy them. And, some of the things that were, locked behind the paywall is now El Frivo for all of us, but it seems though that it's still going to be charging some money later on. You never know, because you pay out all of this money, you've got to somehow make money out of it. So I don't know what's going to happen to it later on, but at least for the time being, though, you can install it and have it like a messaging hub. So you don't have to go to Telegram app, you go to this app and go to that app. You have one app that does all of that. And of course, I know it has a lot of unlabeled buttons. Of course, no one ever thinks of us when they do these things. Of course, we're always an afterthought. So I'm hoping, though, that somehow down the line that we'll have it more accessible. John, you have it on your phone, haven't you? Can you talk a little bit about it?
Sure. Yeah, I installed it and I connected a few things: Telegram, WhatsApp, Google Messages, Facebook Messenger, Signal. It also lets you do like Instagram, Twitter, that sort of thing, even Discord, but I don't really use those, so I didn't connect them. But yeah, it's usable. It's the unlabeled buttons that matter can TalkBack will tell you what they are. So yeah, hopefully, just if we can give the developers feedback, maybe they'll fix it at some point. I mean, it's got to be an easy fix, The problem is it's the type of unlabeled buttons that you cannot label yourself. You try to label them with the voice command, and it says cannot be labeled. If you bring up the TalkBack menu, there's no option to label it. So you just kind of have to either listen to the description every time or just memorize them. But that being said, using it with Google Messages is actually a better experience for me than Google Messages itself, because with the latest update to Google Messages, like, they broke all kinds of things. Like the Braille keyboard when you swipe up with 2 fingers, it no longer sends the message. It does send the message in this app. Now you have to like swipe 5 times to get to the send button from the edit box. And, in this app, you just swipe once and double tap and it's sent. It actually is an edit box before you open it, which Google Messages no longer is. So you can't like use a voice command to just put text in there. So it's, in a lot of ways, it kind of works better for me the way I used to use Messages before they broke a bunch of stuff about it. And it does support RCS, so it will send RCS messages to those Android contacts that also have it enabled, and you can see if they've read it and can react to things, that sort of stuff.
And if you put beeper on loads of devices, do you know if it makes WhatsApp more seamless? Because we were talking last week about how annoying it is to set up WhatsApp on multiple devices. Does beeper kind of take that away because WhatsApp considers it as one thing?
So I think the process to connect WhatsApp to it is the same as doing a second WhatsApp device. So it just treats it as a second device.
Yeah. But if I have beeper on 10 devices, say, does it automatically connect WhatsApp without you having to go and do silly WhatsApp things? I guess is where I'm coming from.
Oh, that's
I don't think it
question.
would, Ed, because the WhatsApp, though, even WhatsApp lets you only connect 5 devices to it. But I think that it will detect that you've already connected to so many devices. And
I don't know, because it'd be with a beeper account, though, isn't it? So would WhatsApp detect
Yeah,
it?
but I think it kind of talks to WhatsApp somehow, though. I would like to think so. Just the same thing that it would talk to Telegram.
I would think for security, this is a total guess, but in order to like maintain the encryption, end-to-end encryption and all that, I think it's just saved on the one device. So I think you'd have to connect it. This is just a guess again, but I think you'd have to set it up on each device you wanted to use it and connect your accounts to that device as well.
That'd be interesting. I might play with it. Well, a couple of things to mention as well. I never used this service, but Beeper's obviously been acquired by Automattic, but it has merged with an existing messaging app that Automattic bought, which kind of tried to do the same thing, called texts.com. I think it was a Windows app. It wasn't available on other platforms, so they will merge. What I thought was really funny is that Beeper features in a bit of Automattic called Other Bets Division, which sort of sounds like random technology we're going to take a punt on to see if it works. Other Bets Division. Amazing.
Yeah, they acquire everything. I mean, they acquired Tumble, they acquired Pocket Casts, I think. So they're in the business of buying things.
Yeah. My concern, though, is that I hope they don't dump these things off, because, sometimes companies buy these things and then turn around and just simply jettison those things off. And
it sounds like text.com, they've done exactly that, because they've said Beeper and text.com will merge. I take it to mean texts.com, if anyone ever cared, would disappear. So it sounds like they might well do that. And the name of the division, Other Bets, suggests that that it's not a strategy, obviously, but it's a consequence they seem happy to take.
And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics.
Now we move to our Android Basics section, and this week saw the release of Android 15 Beta 1, and I think it's going to be quite an exciting release, this one. Warren, there's particularly good news for braille users, isn't there?
Yeah, so we're excited to see, Android 15 Beta 1 come through, because this is something we have been pining for. And, unlike last year, how many developer previews did we have last year? Did we have like 3 of them, or maybe was it only 2? Frankly, don't remember. I know that last year was quite a very bad year for Android, with Android 14 and all of that. Now, this year, though, it seems like things are moving on track like it ought to be. And the integration of the heat support for braille devices displays that have that capability is a great news indeed. So really, we're glad to see that happening, that we have that support in there. Now, the trouble is if one is not connecting, you really would need to wait for maybe like a firmware from, the manufacturer and all of that. TalkBack or Android 15 Beta 1 as it is still comes with TalkBack 14.2. Even though in the what's new that is out there, it says it support hit devices and all of that. But if it's not working for you, I'm sure that it won't be too long before this becomes the reality. But I'm glad to see it come through.
Yeah, and what this is the human interface device. It's the way that some modern displays, particularly humanware, connect over Bluetooth. And there was a problem with the Android Bluetooth stack, which meant they didn't work, even though Google had kind of signed up to the standard. So if you had an Android phone and one of these displays, you'd been left probably for a good couple of years since things like the recent range of Brailliants were released, the humanware incarnation of the NLSE reader. You wouldn't be able to use them with the Android phone. Eventually, as Warren says, a few more bits and pieces might need to drop in place, but Android 15 will support those. So that I think should be excellent news.
And just like, betas and all of that, you got to be cautious. If you only have one device, probably maybe not a good idea for you to jump on. However, if you want to try it, you can. Of course, it supports from Pixel 5a through the Pixel 8 Pro. Those are the devices that this supports. And like every beta or, especially in the OS iteration, there's not much new things that will be here. But, some of those things that are in here are like addressing the cellular connectivity and all of that. And then also there's some other new things that makes it possible to do things on the home screen, like on the lock screen and all of that. Those are some of the things that we see here that this new beta brings to us. We'll see what happens in beta 2, but edge to edge apps display, because sometimes, especially if you're on a tablet, for example, and you have an app and it's not spanning across the whole edges, but that is fixed to where developers can take advantage of that. So natively, that is now available on this beta, and developers could just make their apps to take advantage of that. That's one of those things that are here that has come to us via this new beta update.
Yeah, and as you say, some interesting security things. Cellular, you'll be able to see if your cellular network is not encrypted. You will. I think there's a nice app archiving thing. So if you do want to archive your apps, it won't just archive Play Store apps. It will archive apps you might have installed on your phone from somewhere else. So that should work a little bit better as well. And yeah, lock screen widgets, another one. People have missed those, so being able to do that. So some interesting things. But I think for us, the HID support, the HID support is the biggie for those modern displays. But particularly, it seems to be the humanware ones that have embraced that standard. So that once all the bits and pieces are fallen in place, whether that's the firmware manufacturers, TalkBack 15 or future Android 15 beta iterations, once all that's come in place, come release day, that should be good.
Warren, you said the 5A was going to get this. I thought it was the 6 series and on. Is that wrong?
No, the 5A is part of it. 5A has been part of it. So what happens, though, and the reason is like the regular 5, came like almost a year before the 5A came through. So the 5A is part of it. If you have the 5A, you do qualify for getting Android 15. So if you have one and you want to enroll it, you can enroll it in the beta. Another thing, though, that I like that comes with this beta is that you can finally, pick your default wallet app. I know this was possible in the past, but you had to go through, jump through a lot of hoops now. Then to get it to use something other than the Google one as your default. But with this beta, you can choose which wallet app you want. Maybe you have some gift cards or maybe ticket apps or whatever that you would rather make that your default than the Google app. Now, this is simplified to where you can actually just go to that payment method and easily choose the one that you want instead of running through hoops in order to be able to change it. So that's a nice thing to see coming through. Another thing that I like, though, that talks about the encrypted contact information. If you have several contacts on your phone and you fear their information being stolen, then this will be the feature for you. Android 15 beta 1 now will put your contacts behind a wall of encryption. So it's a nice thing to see. I don't know. I don't know my contacts. I guard my contacts jealously, but I don't think anyone's going to try to get my contacts. But you never can tell.
And just so you know, if you encrypt your contacts and you still, as soon as you log into Facebook, you say, "Yeah, here are my contacts." Facebook will still get your contacts. Like it's just keeping apps on your phone, I guess, from accessing that information unless you give them permission.
Another thing that I think I like is, you know how it is that sometimes maybe some malware is lurking in the background. And so now the activity would be brought to the forefront so you can see and knock it out if there's such a thing going on. So Google is stepping up in a security area here, especially because, we keep hearing, Android devices are this and that and bad, malware. So those little malware that would hide and try to pretend to use an active, regular, bona fide app to do the activity for them will now be able to catch those little buggers.
Yeah, but I hope that in the name of security, this is not going to impact the screen readers that we have, the third-party ones, especially that it seems that Google is not acting well with Jisho those days. So yeah, I hope that they will not do this in the name of security, because this would be something very bad.
Yeah, I agree.
That's something I worry about with every new Android release. Like they've been making it more and more difficult to get it up and running. You have to for side-loaded apps, you have to go into app info to allow restricted access and that sort of thing. So every time, it's like you hold your breath every time they come out with a new version. It's like, hopefully they won't break it.
Yeah, restrictions are increasing. Actually, if you compare Android 13 to Android 14, even with the restricted settings, in Android 13 you could just grant it one time, the permission. In Android 14, you need to grant the permission each time you update the app, unless you use third-party installers. So yeah, I think that they are just going gradually to the point that it will have an impact on third parties. So.
I hear where you're coming from, especially though about the confused screen reader. The commentary screen reader is a matter of concern, but I don't think that they would block it though. I would like to believe that somehow maybe, the developer could just make sure that this is not blocked. And, better still though, I hope he brings this thing to the Play Store so that knuckleheads like me also would give it a try. And so we'll see what happens. But I do hope that this doesn't become something that some of our listeners or users of commentary lose access to it. That will be bad.
I mean, when I was talking to the developer of Synaptic, they said that one of the reasons they weren't on the Play Store was because of kind of the admin and keeping up to date and all the bureaucratic hoops Google makes you jump through when you have an app that requires that accessibility permission now. I mean, I think they're reviewing that because they're realizing that the screen reader part of that app anyway, the restricted setting is kind of causing them issues. So they might, I guess they might have to change it. But I think that was why they weren't. Obviously, that might not be the reason for Jushro not being on it. But all the hoops that Google makes you jump through apparently make that look relatively unattractive. You can see why, because obviously they're getting some of the most giving permissions that it has. So they might want to protect it, but clearly it puts people off.
In the same breath, though, I think that some people have taken advantage of this, and hence the reason why we have malware sometimes is because they abuse this system, and so it's hard to have a balance to the whole thing if you look at it properly.
Yeah, but you could add restrictions and implement the security things that you want, and at the same time give people the freedom to say, okay, we don't want that. So in that, like if people decide, okay, I want this to run on my farm, so this person should just hold the responsibility about it. So Google shouldn't be like the big brother who is watching our things all of the time and watching what we are doing and trying to protect us. Actually, there should be some sort of protection, but there should be also the freedom of choice.
Yeah, we're grown-ups. Let us make our own decisions. You know, Apple treats their users like babies. Let us make our own decisions.
I hear that, but you and I know what we're doing, but there are lots of people out there that do not know what they're doing. And even though I don't buy that argument, but it's true. And hence the reason why the SD card, I keep going back to the SD card when Google said they didn't want to implement it because they said people wouldn't know the difference between an SD card and internal storage. So you go figure.
We don't really believe them, though. They just want to sell cloud storage. So
Exactly.
that's not really why they didn't implement SD card storage, is it? It's that they can sell you lots of Google Drive storage.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it needs to be like, to me, Windows kind of gets a balance, right? There's a store. They will make it a little bit difficult to do stuff, but you can, if you know what you're doing, you can go and turn off all the difficult stuff. Disable user account control entirely if you want to. So I don't quite know why they don't just do that and stop, as Sean says, trying to baby folk along and build a semi-wall garden.
You're listening to the Blind Android Users podcast.
Next, then, in Android Basics, I said it was a double bill. We're talking about what Google are calling its new Find My Device network. I mean, I think looking at it, Warren, I mean, Find My Device already exists to a degree, isn't it? So this is kind of an enhanced, revamped thing, would you say, rather than something that's absolutely brand new. Is that fair?
It is a revamped thing. And the only difference is that prior till now, though, and it will take a little bit of some updates and all of that, or specialized chips or whatever. So basically what it is that in the past, your device has to be alive in order to be able to find it. But now, though, with this, and especially if you have Pixel 8 or Pixel 8 Pro, they do have a chip in there that even if the battery is dead or if the phone is offline, it can still show you where that is on the map. Something that our fruit veilers have had in the past. Now, the good news about this, though, is that what this means is that in reality, when our batteries are dead, the Bluetooth will still have a little bit of access to the battery. So it kind of reminds me of the CMOS that you have on the laptop, where, let's say, if you set the time and all of that, that depends on that little battery in there. However, somehow they've managed, there's a new chip in there that will keep the Bluetooth powered on even when the battery is dead. So it'll be able to get it when one is looking for it. And you can opt out of these things if you don't want your device to be part of the aggregation process, where we got billions of Android devices, and actually it makes it better than what the Fruit Veil has, because there are more Android devices in the world than what we have on the other side. So this is a great thing that we have, and I can't wait for it to hit other devices. But from the sounds of it, it seems like this is going to be mainly like in flagship devices, and I don't know how that would be if the S24, for example, would kick that on with some sort of an update.
So what's happening now is previously you had to have an internet connection to be found by Find My Device, but now after this rollout, anytime your device, it still has to have power, with the exception of the Pixel 8 series. Your device still has to have power, but even if it doesn't have an internet connection, any Android phone running Android 9 or later that has this has been rolled out to, that comes within Bluetooth range of your device, will record the location of the device. So, and this is how Apple's Find My Network works, is, anytime it's within Bluetooth range of a device, it gets recorded. And so now you'll be able to, right now it just works with Android phones, but they'll add trackers and stuff later. Actually, it works with some earbuds too now. But yeah, so the difference now is that other devices will help find your phone rather than your phone having to be connected to the internet to let you know where it's at. And yeah, if you've ever, speaking of like the battery with your phone's turned off situation, if you've ever had an iPhone that you've put in a drawer for a few months and it was fully charged, and then you took it out of the drawer and you're like, how did that lose battery? Like, this is why it lost battery, because it just pretends to turn off and it keeps Bluetooth low energy enabled so that if it gets lost, it can be found. So, if you like that feature of your battery slowly dissipating when the phone is turned off, that's something the Pixel 8 series has, and it's something that more Android phones will have going forward.
And presumably, if you turn Bluetooth off, this whole thing's shut down. Is it? It won't do anything.
Here's what I'm thinking, though. So let's say I have my phone right now and I turn off the Bluetooth. Then I turn the phone off, for example. So I lost my phone and somehow someone stole it, or whatever the case may be. And in that state, I think, though, that it will still work because of the chip, especially, the Pixel 8 series that we're talking about. I think it will still work because of that chip that is in there. But if it's not a Pixel 8 series, I'm not sure if it would work.
Because if other Android phones are using Bluetooth to find it, you sort of think that it would need to have Bluetooth turned on, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but when you turn Bluetooth, the question is, when you turn Bluetooth off, does it really disable the Bluetooth radio, or does it just disable certain Bluetooth features on your phone and Bluetooth secretly stays on? I have a feeling it secretly stays on.
Exactly. And most especially when the phone is off, because what I'm thinking of, I'm looking at, how it is when you turn on airplane mode and you can still access Bluetooth with newer Android versions. You could still do that. And so I don't think that just because you turn off the Bluetooth and then the phone is dead or whatever, that it will not be found. I think it will still be found.
Yes, this is quite a good thing from a phone tracking perspective. It sort of raises quite a lot of privacy concerns, doesn't it? Like, if you don't want your phone, I'm not saying, although obviously it would come to this. If you actually don't want your phone recording the location of everyone else's phones to help them find them, if you don't want your phone to be tracked while it's off, this is
I think these are both things you can change. The question is, if by default, will it be turned on? Will you be tracking everybody else's devices by default? And I'm assuming you will be. It'll just be one of those things you don't really look at when you hit the agree button. It's one of those switches that's turned on during your phone setup that if you don't pay attention to it, you're going to have it on. But you can turn it off if you don't want to be tracking everybody else's phones and you don't want to contribute to the network.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can you still benefit from other people tracking you if you turn off you tracking everyone else?
That's a good question.
Well, another thing that Google has in the mix that kind of sets it apart, though, is that the at-home tracking, for example. So if you don't want something within your home to be tracked or something, I wasn't understanding that really. But so because of that privacy you mentioned, Ed, there's something there that would prevent, something in your home if you don't want it tracked.
Also, I'm planting a tag on you, and there's
Yeah,
now industry
yeah.
cooperation with Apple and
Because
Google,
or
isn't there?
else someone will
Yeah,
find
tag.
find your home.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and now, and that's worth mentioning. Well, a couple things. Since you mentioned home, this works with Nest and Google Home devices also. So it uses the Bluetooth radios in those devices to also know your phone. So not only will it tell you your phone is at your house, but it can tell you like the specific room because it knows you have a Nest speaker in here named living room, and that's the closest
Yeah.
Bluetooth device to that. So it can give you more specific information like that. And what was the other thing you guys were talking about? I've already
Yeah,
forgot.
tags and the
Oh,
Like the
yes.
Google Apple.
Yeah, the good thing about this is this is compatible to a certain extent with Apple's Find My network. Like for Apple's previously, if you could track somebody with an Android phone with an AirTag because they would not get a notification saying there's an AirTag tracking you like you would get on an iPhone if there was an AirTag tracking you. But Google's worked with Apple to make sure these work both ways so that if you have when we release in the future, I think May is when they start releasing Android's version of trackers. If you try to put an Android tracker near a person with an iPhone, their iPhone will be able to see that and let you know that it's tracking you, and vice versa. So now going forward, Apple's AirTags, if somebody has put an AirTag near you with an Android phone, your Android phone will also alert you.
I have a question. What will the person stealing a Pixel phone do? They'll have to give it back because the Pixel phone is very low performance phone.
Oh boy, here we go with the belly aching again. Guys, can we leave the Pixel phone alone?
Ed,
All this,
do you agree with me, Ed?
Yeah,
all
I
this,
don't think we should leave the Pixel phone alone. I think we should abuse the Pixel phone.
all these jealous
Yeah, we
bugs.
should just abuse them. Yeah.
Good heavens, Austin, bro, just get better. Leave my phone alone, shall we?
I feel like I should mention, because I wondered this, if you have bought into Samsung's ecosystem and you've gotten smart tags and you're wondering if that's compatible with the Find My Device network, they are not. So I don't know if Samsung will make them compatible in the future or if they would need to use new hardware or if that's even something they're considering. But as of right now, it's a whole separate thing. So Samsung has their own little version of it where all Samsung devices track their Samsung trackers in the same way that all iOS devices track AirTags. So yeah, if you have a Samsung tracker, it's still only going to be tracked by Samsung devices, at least
So
for now.
So if you want to track someone without them knowing and they own an iPhone or a Pixel phone, what you're saying is get a Samsung tag.
Exactly. Yes.
You should probably edit that out, to be fair. You probably can't include.
Knowing the closeness between Samsung and Google, I'm sure it's just a matter of time before we're on the same page.
Well, I think there needs to be an industry standard, doesn't there? Because I think Samsung and Apple would probably want to be on the same page too.
I don't know about that,
I think
Ed.
so. No, because what it does obviously is that it means that you can, if you want to track someone unbeknownst to them, you just buy a tag not covered by the phone you know that they own, which is why Apple and Google have come together. So yeah, it'll need to be an industry standard. So it'll be it'll be a tripartite thing, won't it? Samsung will have to sign up to whatever Apple and Google have done.
And if they don't, I'm sure some government will step in and make them.
It'll be the EU. The EU always does stuff like that.
Exactly. But I'm almost optimistic this will be sorted out. And I'm thinking that, this whole idea of not knowing that someone is tracking me is just it's just bad. So they've got to fix that. I'm optimistic that will have to be fixed.
But just to warn you guys, it's going to cause a lot of headaches because, as I've mentioned previously, I use AirPods, right, with my Android phone, and the AirPods case has Find My built into it. So anytime I'm going anywhere with my wife or anyone with an iPhone, because I don't have an iPhone, and it knows that the Apple account that my AirPods are tied to, I don't have my iPhone on me. So it thinks that I'm using my AirPods to track anybody with an iPhone that I'm currently like hanging out with. So like if me and my wife go driving somewhere, she'll get a picture of like a map saying there's an unknown tracker, and it'll show her like it's been tracking you from here to here, like from our house to wherever we've gone. So yeah, it is good to have this in place, but just be prepared to have to explain yourself to people every once in a while.
So if you really want to track someone, then you need to find out their account details and put the tracker on their account, so they'll never see it.
Yeah, but if you've gotten into their account, then it's already over.
Well, no,
Yeah.
this is to track you physically, isn't it? That's what the trackers do.
But this is a flaw in the Fruitvale world, though, because it should have detected and know that, hey, this is an iPod or whatever you guys call it, AirPod.
Yeah, it does. The problem is, though, with the tags, because it's on his Apple account and not hers, it's reporting it as a foreign, like, stalker person's
Yeah,
tag.
but it should have detected this is
doing it what it's supposed to do. It's doing
It's
it right.
doing exactly what it should do. Yeah.
Yeah, but it
just a
shouldn't
headache
say
you're
that
gonna
it's
have
an
to-
unknown device. It should know what device it is.
Yeah, she should be able to say, I know this device. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
I'm okay with this one specific device tracking me because this is my husband's
Exactly.
AirPods. Yeah,
And most especially if they're coming
Yeah.
from the same location. So there's a flaw somewhere.
Shouldn't iCloud Family be able to fix that?
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe I should join my wife's family. Maybe that'll fix it.
With your Apple account.
we don't have a family.
Well, if you create a family, that must fix it, surely.
Oh,
Yeah.
brother. Yeah.
Probably.
That's silly.
But it still remains the same. Like if I go anywhere with anybody who has an iPhone that's not in my family, it will let them know. So as long as I have my AirPods, excuse me.
I said iPod. It's not it's an air. Out of that air, you're out of oxygen.
But if you had your iPhone, it would close the loop, presumably, and know that that's where it was, and wouldn't report it to all the other people.
Exactly. That's the problem. Is I don't use my iPhone or carry it.
So if you had your Android phone, your AirPods, and there were 5 people in tag range, would they all get a notification saying they were being tracked, or will it kind of pick one?
Yeah. If we were like, if I was in the car with like 5 people that had iPhones, yes, they would all.
They'd all get a notification.
Mm-hmm.
Up next is the App of the Week segment. This is a segment dedicated to app demonstrations. Should you have an app that you would like to demonstrate for our listeners, feel free to send us the recording of such an app demo to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your App of the Week.
And now we turn to the App of the Week section, and Warren demonstrates the app Streadio.
Hi, Warren here for Blind Android Users Podcast, and for episode 175 App of the Week, this is demonstrating an app called Streadio or Streadio, Streadio. Now, Streadio or Streadio is a radio app, and for me, when it comes to looking for a radio app, there's one essential thing that I look for in such an app, and that's the ability to record. Streadio happens to be one of those, because there are so many radio apps on there, but only a few have recording capabilities. For this demonstration, I'm using my Galaxy S23 Plus, running One UI 6.1 and Android Accessibility Suite 14.2. I am on my home screen and I'll navigate to the icon for Streadio or Streadio.
Streadio.
Here is Streadio or Streadio.
Streadio. Allow notifications. Out of pager.
The first thing we heard is whether or not we will allow the notifications. Now, of course, some of you know that I'm notorious for not allowing notifications. So for me, though, I'm going to choose Don't Allow. But you've got the option of allowing notifications or not to allow notifications.
Notifications permission is required to show the radio player notification and recording notification.
In other words, if you want to see that in your notification shade so you can stop it or whatever, you could enable this. Now, if you don't want to, then you could just not enable it and just launch the app and find and tap on the stop.
Not now button.
There's not now.
Allow button.
Or allow. For this demonstration, though, I'm going to tap on not now.
Not now button. Open navigation menu button.
The next screen, what we heard is Open Navigation Menu, and that's the button found near the top left corner of the phone. Let's see if we have any other buttons here on the top of the phone. So I'll slowly move my finger to the right of this area. Moving my finger to the right,
Search.
I hear search. In other words, you could tap here to search for the radio station you're after, whether you're searching by country or searching by call letters of the station you're after. You tap here to search for that radio station that you're after. Moving my finger to the top right corner,
Detected. Icon. Settings button. Detected.
we hear
Icon.
detected
Settings.
icon settings. In other words, the developer didn't label these buttons, and so TalkBack here is doing the heavy lifting. Let's go ahead though and see what else we have below here. That's what we have near the top part of the phone. Below here though, we've got like 4 tabs. Starting from the left, we've got
Favorites.
favorites, meaning any radio station that you have favorited will be here. And to the right of that,
Recordings.
recordings having to do with all of your recordings. Next,
Schedules.
schedules. In other words, you can go in here and find the stations that you have scheduled. We'll take a look at that once we got a radio station going on. The last item here, or the last tab here, is
Browse.
browse is our last item, meaning if I tap here, I could either browse by genre or browse by country and all of that. And below that, we got some stations that show up.
99.3 Mega 99.3 Oldies Music button. 90.7 HD2 NWPB News. Knower HD2 Public Radio button.
These are arranged in a grid, so I went from left to right. Let's, though, go back to the top left corner and see what the navigation drawer contains.
Open navigation menu button.
We tap.
Navigation menu. Browse.
The first thing we heard was browse. Let's go down.
Favorites.
Next.
Recordings.
Next.
Schedules.
Next.
Rate, share me.
There's a rate/share me.
Car mode.
And the last item here,
Report a bug.
that's the last item in the navigational drawer. Let's go back and take a look at the settings.
Open navigation menu button.
And on the top right corner,
Button. Detected. Icon. Settings.
we tap here.
Settings. Back. Button.
We heard back, which is on the top left corner. Let's move on down and see what we've got here in the settings.
Settings. Heading.
We heard settings heading and moving down.
Unlock features. Button.
Unlock features. I have no idea as to what those features are, although this is a free app and all of that. However, if you want to unlock more additional features, then you have to pay some moolah to do that. Let's see what this entails. Let's tap here.
3 days free trial. Heading.
First thing we heard was 3-day free trial.
Premium subscription. Get access to more app features.
Let's now look at what some of these subscriptions are.
1 month $1.99.
So it's $1.99, basically $2 a month, or, let's keep moving.
6 months save 33.0%, $7.99.
Or you could pay $8 for 6 months. Next.
Yearly save 41.0%, $13.99.
Or pay $14 annually.
You will be automatically billed through Google Play at the end of the free trial period. Your subscription will auto-renew unless you cancel or turn off auto-renew at least 24 hours before the end of the current period. You can manage your subscription in the Google Play Store.
So in other words, if you want, you could give it that 3-day trial and see how you like it before you decide on whether or not you're just going to keep using it as a free user or as a paid user. And below that,
Continue button disabled.
we have continue, and it's disabled because we haven't chosen any of those subscription models. Those are your model subscriptions. Let's go back.
Favorites.
I am back in the main UI. The next thing I want to do here is to go to the browse and let's see what countries, or if we could search for a country. So I'm going to tap on that last tab near the top that says browse.
Browse. Browse button.
I am on the browse page, and here's what we got.
Local radio. Trending. Music. Sports. News and talk. Podcasts. By location. By language.
And that's the last item here. So for example, if you want to search by location or listen by genre, you could tap one of those genres above: sports, news, music, or whatever. But if you want to search by language, you could just tap on by language. And if you want to go by location, you tap on there and go choose the location you want by inputting the country you're after. Let's go back.
Search.
Now I'm going to tap on one of these stations here in the main UI.
95.3 KXLE-FM country button.
And that's the local station in my area, and that's country station. Let's go ahead and tap on this.
95.3 KXLE-FM country.
Now, when you tap on a station, of course, since we're not paying, near the top of the phone is a banner for ads and all of that. It doesn't get in your way, though. So toward the middle of the phone, toward the bottom, we have some buttons. And starting from the left and going to the right, here are the buttons that we find.
Button. Detected. Icon. Home.
There's that home button there on the left. Tapping on that will take you back to the main UI of the app. Moving to the right.
64 kilobits per second button.
In other words, you could tap on this and change to see if it has a higher kilobits that you could choose from, because the higher the kilobits, the better sounding it will be. To the right of that, we got
Detected. Icon. Play button. Detected. Icon. Play.
We have the play button, meaning if I tap here, it will start playing this radio station. And then to the right of it,
Rec button.
we have a rec, which is the recording button. And then to the right of that, the last button on the right,
Detected. Icon. Stop button. Detected.
stop. So
Icon.
whether I'm
Stop.
playing or I'm recording, if I tap on that, it'll stop that activity. And now, near the top right corner, we've got a couple buttons. On the very top right corner, we have the More button.
Detected. Icon. More button. Show menu. Detected. Icon. More.
It tends to repeat twice because of the bad labeling, but there you have the more options. Now, if we tap on this more,
Pop-up menu. Dismiss menu.
we heard dismiss menu. If I move my finger down,
Sleep timer. Button.
and below that,
Schedule recording. Button.
here is schedule recording. Let's go ahead and tap on this and see how one goes about scheduling a recording.
Button. Show menu. Detected. Icon. More. Alert. The app has not been excluded from battery saver. Radio recording might be interrupted.
So in other words, what we're being told here is that this app has not been excluded from battery optimization. In other words, if you want a continuous recording for when you schedule it, you need to exclude it from battery optimization. And you have
Not now. Button.
not now or
Allow. Button.
allow. I'm going to tap on not now for the time being.
Not now. Button. Schedule recording. 95.3 KXLE FM. Country edit box. Name.
The first thing we heard is the name of the station. Now, if you want to change this, this is where you'll tap to change the name of the station. I'll leave that in its default. Now, directly below that is some sort of a calendar.
Unlabeled. Detected. Text. Date. Friday the 12th of April 2024.
As you can see, it gives you that in a European style. So in other words, if you tap here, if you want to change or select a different day or different month and all of that, you tap here to bring up that calendar. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Friday, April 12th, 2024. Today. Select date. Friday, April 12th. Select year. Button.
You could select the year if I put my finger down.
29. Monday, April 29th, 2024. Button.
Now, near the top right corner though, if you don't want to find the date and tap on it and find the month and tap on it, you could actually tap on an edit and that will bring up the keyboard so you can simply just type in the month, the day, and all of that. Here's what I'm talking about.
Button. Switch to input. Detected. Icon. Edit.
So if I tap here, for example,
The 12th of April 2024. Edit box. Select date Friday, April 12th. Enter date. Showing date time keyboard. Streadio.
and you can simply just type in the month, the day, and all of that. And to the right of that, if you don't want to type it in, you could just switch back to the calendar mode.
Detected. Icon. Calendar. Button. Switch to calendar. Detected. Icon. Calendar.
And then below is a cancel.
Cancel. Button.
Let's go back.
Schedule recording. Back. Button. Keyboard hidden. Streadio.
Now below that though, we have the confirmation of what we have chosen from the calendar.
Friday the 12th of April 2024. Edit box. Date.
And that's an edit field. Next, we have a clock.
Unlabeled. Detected. Text. Time. 1613.
In other words, you tap on this, it's going to take you to the clock and you can choose the time that you want. And below that is a confirmation of the chosen time.
1613. Edit box. Time.
Next, below that, we come across
Unlabeled. Detected. Text. Duration. 0 minutes.
this is another place that if you tap on will take you to the clock and choose as to how long you want the recording to be. And below that is a confirmation.
0 minutes. Edit box. Duration.
Yeah, it's 0 minutes because I haven't chosen anything. Next, we come across the repeat.
Unlabeled. Detected. Text. Repeat. No repeat.
So if you want it to be repeated on a certain day or whatever, you tap here and it's going to take you to the days that you can choose from. I'll show you what I'm talking about real quick.
Dialogue. Monday. Tuesday. Wednesday. Thursday. Friday. Saturday. Sunday.
You got the drift. So you could choose which days or what day you would like it to repeat on and all of that. Let's go back.
Unlabeled. Detected. Text. Repeat. No repeat.
And below that is that edit box, which would confirm the days that we want it repeated on.
No repeat. Edit box. Repeat.
We don't have any repeats. And then at the bottom, we have either
Cancel button.
cancel or
Schedule button.
schedule. And that's all that we have about the Streadio. However, I do want to mention here in passing that if you want to record in some other format besides the default, which is a .amr, then you'll need to buy a subscription in order to record in MP3 or some other formats. And that concludes the Streadio or Streadio, Streadio.
It's always good to have apps, isn't it, that let you record and listen. As you said in the demo, there aren't many. V-Radio is another, but it's good to have options, isn't it?
It is. And for me, though, like I said in that tour of the app, the one thing I look for in a radio app is the ability to record, because I listen to talk radio a lot, and now and then, a lot of times you have someone getting interviewed about a book, and I'm interested in the book. So I record those, and I can go back and listen and get the title of the book. So it comes in very handy. So I just like having radio apps that have recording capability. And I was upset when TuneIn took out the recording capability. And thanks to the French for destroying TuneIn. That's all I can say.
Well, one of the things about this app, I don't know if it's just I'm used to using other apps and I do things in the same way. The tab struck me as being in a really weird order. Like browser's on the right. I would have thought browse would be like second left or left, with maybe record on the right.
Yeah, well, I think it's just an app. Maybe developer chooses how they want that thing to be. They're somewhere there in Europe, so maybe you should, belly ache with them as to why.
Yeah. And I think you said, but just to check, on the premium unlock version, it doesn't just remove ads, does it? You do actually get extra features like changing the file format and stuff, do you?
Yeah, and also you can change where you want the recording stored. Maybe you want the recording to be stored in a different location and all of that. So you could buy that subscription to be able to make those changes. I would like to try it for 3 days and see what it is, but knowing me, I'll forget.
Yeah.
But
I do the same.
Yeah.
And can you add custom URLs? Can you create your own stations?
I didn't see that feature in there to where you could create your own, but I'm almost positive you could. I can't say for sure that you can. I'll have to look it up to see, but I like the app. It's very simplistic, but as you can hear in that demo, because it's not labeled, and thanks to TalkBack for doing that heavy lifting, some of the things repeat twice, like maybe put your finger on the menu and all of that. But at least it's not a very complicated app.
No, that's right. And thanks to Android 14 as well for TalkBack reading those labels when screen curtain is on. That won't work in earlier versions of Android, but I'm very glad it does in Android 14.
And now, the G Show, or what Austin refers to as the Joshua screen reader, aka commentary screen reader. And if you're me, the confused screen reader. This is a segment dedicated to some new feature of the great commentary screen reader. And now for this week's episode, here's your new feature of the commentary screen reader.
And now we have the next in our series on G-Show, and Karine revisits sound scheme creation.
Sound effects is one of the known G-Show features. It is possible to create sound schemes and customize them to your liking. And there are many things that you can link to sounds, like when certain events happen, or when you deal with specific elements, like when an element has actions, or when you perform certain commands or functions, like when you copy. If we compare sound schemes now to how they were maybe 2 years ago, we can notice that things are now different. The sound schemes now are richer. There are more things that you can assign sounds to. Also, it's now easier to create sound schemes. Additionally, there were the additional sound effects. Maybe they were added 1 or 2 months ago. People used to call them super sound effects. So let's visit sound scheme creation and also take a look at the super sound or the additional sound effects. I'll open Jishuo settings.
Main menu. Jishuo settings. Jishuo plus.
Then feedback settings.
TTS general set. Operation. Feedback settings. Feedback settings.
The first option is
Feedbacks. Sound feedback checked.
here I can specify if I want sound feedback or not.
Sound scheme volume 30.
Here I can select the volume of the sound scheme.
Sound scheme sounds 1.
Here I can select the sound scheme that I want to use from the sound schemes that I have on the device.
Applications where additional sound effects are not used. Sound scheme settings sounds 1.
I skipped the previous item just because I want to talk about it later. Sound scheme settings, and it told me the sound scheme that I'm using. Here I can do modifications on the sound scheme that I'm using. If you are using the default sound scheme, of course you can't do modifications.
Sound scheme manager.
Sound scheme manager is where I can do modifications on sound schemes that I have on my device, as well as where I can create a new sound scheme.
Download more sound themes.
So here I can download the sound schemes created by other people and shared to the Jishuo server.
Download sound scheme manager. Sound scheme settings. Sound scheme manager.
I'll open sound scheme manager.
Sound scheme manager. Sound scheme manager. New button.
The first option is new. It is the first item. Also, I can find it near the top of the screen, near the right edge. And then I have the list of sound schemes that I have on my device.
Bella Krishan 2.0. Sounds 2.
If I double tap on any of the sound schemes, I will be able to do modifications. If I long press, I will be able to rename, delete, send, or share the sound scheme with the Jishuo server. I'll tap on New to create a new sound scheme.
Bella Krishan. New button. Enter name.
Sound schemes are, in fact, folders in the sound folder inside the Jishuo main folder. So you can bring files, audio files. I tested MP3, WAV, and OGG files. You can bring the audio files that you want and put inside a folder, and then put this folder inside the path that I specified before. And when you create a new sound scheme, just use the same folder name. So it will be the same folder that you had created, and it will contain all of the sounds that you have added. If you just create a folder and try to find the sound scheme in the sound scheme manager, you will not be able to find it unless it contains the file called config, CONFIG. And this config file is in fact a text file, but you shouldn't add an extension to it. But it is a text file and you can do modifications using a text editor. Having this config file means that Jishuo will be able to find or to recognize the folders as sound schemes. So what I'm going to do now is to copy a folder that I have. It contains the NVDA screen reader sounds. I will copy it to the path to show you. So I
CX File
will
Explorer.
open CX. You can use other file managers as well,
Application icon.
or you can use the computer if you want to. And I will
Local tab. Local. Main storage.
go to main storage.
Recording with plug. NVDA 10 items.
This is the folder that I want. It is NVDA. It is called NVDA. It has 10 audio files.
Toggle selection. Once. More. Delete. Remove. Copy.
I'll copy and then go to the Jishuo folder, which is in Chinese. So it is likely that your TTS engine will not pronounce it.
Playlists 1. Storage 1 item. Item audio. 20 voc 23 items.
It is also in the main storage. And I'll go to
Navigation 1. Navigation. Notes 7. Plugins. Resources. Sounds 9 items.
the folder called Sounds. Now I will paste.
Cancel. Toggle select. Cancel. Paste. Copying. CX File Explorer.
Now I have a folder called NVDA. I'll go to Jishuo again.
1 UI Home. CX. Jishuo Plug. Enter name.
And I will call the sound scheme NVDA.
O. Text box. N. V. D. D. A. OK button. NVDA.
Let's see. Here I have all of the things that I can assign sounds to.
Keyboard. Focusable element.
If the element can be focused,
/storage. /storage.
just
/emulated.
double tap.
Navigate up. Browse mode.wav.
I have all of the sounds that are in the folder that I copied. Also, Jishuo added the config file to the folder. So now if you go to your file manager, you will find the config file. Now, if I swipe between the sounds, they will be played automatically. So I know exactly, this will help me to know exactly the sound that I want to choose. Also, if I explore by touch, I will be able to hear the sounds as well.
Screen curtain on. Focus mode.wav. Screen curtain off.wav.
Okay, so I will use this one. I'll double tap. It also played when I selected the sound.
NVDA. Focusable element. Screen curtain off.wav.
And as you could hear, also when I'm focusing the item that has sound, the sound that is assigned to this item will be played as well. Let's see other things.
Keyboard element.
This is for keyboard elements.
Not focusable element.
If an element can't be focused.
Click. Not clickable element.
If an element can be tapped or clicked.
Reaching last element. Scroll down. Scroll up. Long press. Click. Not focusable. Clock. Timer tick. Cancel.
The cancel is related to the lift to activate feature. So if you keep the finger on the element for a specific time, when you hear the sound assigned to the cancel, you will know that when you lift your finger, the item will not be activated.
Timer tick. Clock. Window change. Dialog box.
The window change when you change the window like if you open your notification box, if you go to your home screen, if you open an app.
Screen locked. Screen unlocked. Edge gesture trigger. Edge gesture completion. Timer start. Timer end. Recognition started. Recognition stopped.
Recognition is related to speech recognition and for the voice assistant and text recognition.
Recognition successful. Recognition error. Recognition cancelled. Charging started. Charging stopped. Battery full. Battery low. Scrolled to top. Scrolled to bottom. Previous text. Next text.
This is related to text navigation, like when you are moving by characters.
Increase volume. Decrease volume. Copy. Paste. Go back.
Copy, paste, and go back are the Jishuo related functions.
Actions available. Link.
When there are links.
Text box.
When there is a text box, or when the element is a text box.
Checkbox.
When the element is a checkbox.
Slider. Items from 30 to 44, 49.
Slider.
Automatic translation.
Automatic translation function.
Automatic OCR.
Also a function.
Take a screenshot. Feedback paused.
Those are related to the suspension of browse by touch, speech and browse by touch.
Feedback resumed. Close button.
So as you are able to notice, there are many things that you can assign sounds to. However, you should pay attention to that. Sometimes you may have conflicts, like when an element has more than one thing that you can or that should play sounds. Yeah, there may be conflicts in certain situations, like maybe a certain sound will not play. And
NVDA. Import button.
what I can do is using the import. So I'll double tap on import.
Scanning in progress 3 period.
This will let me add to the folder of the sound scheme.
/storage/ enter keyword text box. Search results 1809.
So I did a scan and showed me 1809 sounds or audio files on my phone. I can move between them. Swiping or using Explore by Touch will let the sounds play or the audio files play. Also, the names are the path and then the file name. I can search using
Import button. Search results 1000. Enter keyword text box.
I can search by typing a specific or some of the path or some of the file name. Let's try using the word beep.
B E E E P P.
I'll see
/storage/emulated/ /storage/emulated/0/ notifications
So-
/alarm_beep_01.org unchecked.
So just touching or swiping to the sound is enough to play it. I can double tap any file to check it.
/storage/checked. Beep text box. /storage beep. Search results 1809.
It is showing me all of the audio files that I have, not only the search results that contain the matching words. So I'm showing you this because we have
/storage. Select. Import. Select all button.
select all. If I tap the select all, what will happen is that it will select all of the files, not only the matching words or the matching audio files. So you should pay attention to this. And it is recommended to check the files that you want manually, and then you tap
Import button.
Import.
Imported 1 items.
Okay, it imported the file that I already selected, and it is now added to the folder. So I will...
Automatic translation. Check.
What I'm going to do is to show you the additional sound effects thing. It is not possible currently to deal with the additional sound effects using the G-Show Sound Scheme Manager.
Increase volume.
First, to save, I just need to go back.
Done.
And it's saved. To select the sound scheme, I just go to Sound Scheme and select the one that I created.
G-Show Plus.
I'm going to the File Manager again, and I'm reminding you again that it's not necessary to use CX File Explorer. Use the File Manager that you want, or use the computer.
CX File Explorer. CX File Explorer. NVDA 12 items.
The NVDA folder that has now 12 items instead of 10, the config, and the audio file that I copied using the import.
Browse mode.wav alarm underscore beep underscore
I
03.
will create a new folder. So additional sound effects are in fact folders that you create in your sound scheme. One of them is for matching words, and the other is for automatic time announcement feature.
More options button.
I'll tap on more options.
New.
New.
New file. Folder.
Folder.
Text box.
And I will call it effect.
E F F W E C 5 R T T.
Like this, I didn't even put the E capitalized.
Cancel button. OK button. CX File Explorer.
Inside the effect folder,
G-Show. Effect 0 items.
I will add the audio files that I want to be played when matching texts are found. So this means that the sound that I will add here, its name will be considered the matching text. And the matching here is flexible, so whenever the thing or the name is found, it will trigger the sound playing. Also, you should know that it is case sensitive, so if it's in lowercase and the item contains the letter in uppercase, it will not play the sound. And also, it's not necessary to focus the item. In fact, it is just enough to be in an announcement, like a notification, for example, or in a G-Show message, like browse by touch suspended, browse by touch resumed, for example. So I will...
Alarm underscore beep underscore 03. Toggle selection.
This is the file that I copied here. I will rename it, or I will copy it first.
1. Move. Copy.
And put it in the effect folder.
Sounds. Effect 0 item.
So inside the effect folder,
Cancel. Empty folder. Paste. CX File Explorer.
And then I will rename it to the word
Main G-Show. Alarm underscore beep underscore 03. Hog 20. Toggle selection. 1 selected.
resumed.
Delete more. Rename. Alarm underscore R E S U M E D D. Cancel button. OK button. CX File Explorer.
Now I need just to select the sound scheme, the NVDA sound scheme, as the select or add as my sound scheme of choice, you should pay attention to something, that if you are using the sound scheme, you should go to another sound scheme and then select it again, or relaunch the show by turning it off, then on, for those changes to take effect.
Main menu. G-Show setting. G-Show TTS set general settings. Feedback setting. Sound scheme sounds 1. Sound scheme. NVDA unchecked. Feedback settings. Application sound scheme settings NVDA sound scheme manager.
So many things, or most of the things are not assigned to sounds. I will now suspend browse by touch.
Browse by touch suspended.
And I will resume it.
Browse by touch resumed.
So it's not just played when the text is reached. It is played when the text is found in the focus or in the announcement. In the effect folder, you can create subfolders. Those subfolders should take the names of the apps that you want certain sound effects to be working in. So if I create a folder with the WhatsApp name and I add matching texts there using the same method that I told you before, using the sound names, those or when I'm in WhatsApp and those matching texts are found, they will be played. When I'm out of WhatsApp, they will not be played. Another thing that I forgot to mention while I was talking about modifying sound schemes and assigning sounds to actions and things is that you can use the default sound for a certain action by choosing default when you are selecting the sound. Also, you can choose none, which means that there will be no sound playing when this or the action that is done, or when you reach the element that has like links or whatever.
Download more sound themes. Sound scheme manager. Sounds. Applications where additional sound effects are not used. Additional sound effects will be temporarily disabled in the selected applications.
This will be unavailable if you are using a sound scheme that doesn't contain the effect folder. I'll double tap.
Applications where a cappella TTS voice is unchecked.
I can check the apps that I want, and whenever I'm in the app, the effects will be blocked. Or the additional sound effects that are related to matching, the text matching, will be blocked. After I check the apps that I want,
always OK button.
I tap on OK. Let's go back.
Feedback settings.
The last thing that I want to talk about is also in the additional sound effects, which is the clock. You create a folder called the clock, and you put inside it a folder called hourly if you want the sounds to play, or for the sounds that you want to play when you reach the head of the hour. And there are the other folders that you can create, which are hour and minute. The hour contains the hours that you want to play sounds, or the sounds that you want to be played when you reach or when you are in a certain hour. And the minute is for the sounds that will be played with minutes. However, you should pay attention to something, which is that the automatic time reading interval is or can't be less than 5 minutes. Also, it can't be customized. So it is either 5 10, 15, 30, or 1 hour. Regarding the naming structure, you have to use the 24-hour format. This means that if you want to put the 12 a.m., you have to put 0. If you want to have 5, you should name the sound 5. And if you want to have the 11 p.m., it will be 23. And the same is with minutes. They are from 0 to 59.
30. Sound scheme NVDA. Sounds. Default unchecked. Validation and checked. Feedback set. Extension. Advanced settings. Timer settings. Timer set. Automatically read the time unchecked controls whether the time checkbox. Wi-Fi 2, 10. 22:33.
It is 22:33. I think I set the interval to 5 minutes.
Time reading interval every 5 minutes.
Yeah, it is every 5 minutes. So I'll go now to the folder.
CX File Explorer.
Sound scheme.
CX File. Plugins 30. Sounds 10 items. Ray 0. Cortana Xbox. Validation and Effect 2 Clock 2 items.
It doesn't contain the hourly. It has only the hours and minutes now.
Toggles. Hour 24 items.
Hour and
Minutes. Toggle selection.
Minute. Here I have to add the hourly, hour, and minute folders. So now I'm waiting for it to be or to become
22:35.
It is 22:35. So in order to achieve this, there should be a 22 sound or sound called 22 inside the folder, the hour folder, and a 35 sound in the minute folder.
Toggle selection.
Let's see.
Hour 24. 3. 10.mp. 11. 20.mp3. 21. Toggles. 22.mp3.
Let's see in the minute.
Minutes. 35.mp3 5.21 kilobytes.
35. 36.
The last thing that I want to mention here is that the clock sounds are not currently working with the time speaking G-show functions. They are only working in the automatic time announcement. Also, they don't work with timers or stopwatch.
Enable timer.
I now enabled the stopwatch and I specified 1 minute intervals.
10.
1 minutes.
22:38. Toggle selection. 39. Toggle select. 38.m.
38. 30.
So it didn't play the sound of the 38. I hope that this was useful. Thank you for listening.
There certainly are a lot of different sound schemes that people have created for G-show, aren't there, Karine?
Yeah, Jisho cares a lot about sounds. So you could hear that there are a lot of things or events or actions that you could assign sounds to. And also they have added the additional sound, which, or the feature itself also adds a more. You can just have a play a sound whenever you reach a certain text, whether the text is in focus or if it is in an announcement or notification. So this also opens a lot of possibilities regarding certain notifications or certain things. If you want them to be announced by sound, or if you want them to be accompanied by sound. Actually, I'm not so much like a fan of a lot of sound. Even many of the stuff that were or that I can add sounds to, I don't add sounds to them, but I like just to add to the basics. But I think many people are so much interested about sound schemes and they enjoy this a lot. So yeah, I think it's a good feature, especially that our friend TalkBack doesn't allow you even to change the sound scheme, to change a single sound actually. So yeah, it is good.
Warren, this is even more reason for you to love G-Show, isn't it? Because you absolutely love sounds on your phone.
Quite an irony, Ed. How people know me as a sound hater. So this is actually something that will push me farther out from the confused screen reader.
This is why Warren doesn't like sounds, is because TalkBack never lets you change it, and he's heard it for years and years, and he just can't take it anymore. So he turns it off.
No, Fruitvale is the one that made me
Exactly.
hate sounds.
Because TalkBack used to use weird sounds, especially those that were added maybe with
Oh gosh,
4.0
the
or
ping-ball sounds.
oh, they were the weirdest sounds they thought of. Actually, they were terrible.
Yeah, especially that scrolling sound, like when you were scrolling the page.
Oh
I don't
god.
want to try to do
Don't
it, but
even
you
go
definitely
there.
like talking about.
Don't even go there. So we're talking about like, maybe 2015, 2016. Those sounds were terrible,
Yeah, and they were the reason because of you not liking sound feedback. And if you
No,
use Disho, you
actually,
will
no, Carrie, no, no,
realize.
no. It was the Fruitvale that made me hate sounds as early as 2010, 2011, because I was using that and I hated that sound. And I can tell you, even to this day, when I'm with my Fruitvalers friends and I hear that sound, boom, boom, I just hate that thing with a passion. So I just don't.
Which was at the end of the screen sound, to the
Yeah,
one where you've got to the top and the
exactly.
bottom.
Oh
That one.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I just hate those sounds. I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll kind of retrain myself to like sounds again, but I don't know. I've been along without them for such a long time, and I don't think there's any way I'm going to go back to sounds. I just don't do it.
So the thing is that the advantage of sounds that I see is when a blind person loses speech for any reason. So in this case, having the sounds, especially the sound when you move between items or when you click an item or when a window changes, those sounds could be really helpful in certain situations. And I was in certain situations where when I needed to just uh, swipe several swipes to reach certain point where I could open the TTS settings and select an engine, a different engine. So I think in those situations, sounds are really safer.
Oh, that's reminding me that the losing speech and sounds. I did used to enjoy going into Apple stores, getting the phones, turning on voiceover, turning off sounds, turning off speech, and
boy.
turning on screen curtain. They
That
don't
was
let you
naughty.
do that anymore. They now have demo modes. You can't do it. I think because I probably crashed an entire Apple store in London's phones by doing that.
Oh
They
my
didn't like it.
gosh. And that was really bad. Naughty, naughty,
It's
naughty boy.
really funny.
Oh my gosh.
They literally look like it's not doing anything.
And you were
I
added to
can,
the blacklist in all Apple stores around the world.
Probably.
If those Apple
I,
employees were properly trained on accessibility features, they would have known exactly what was going on.
exactly. I can hear the F word flying around. Some, tech support guy in the store. And it's like, what the?
Yeah, I did very much enjoy doing that. They wrecked it with the haptic home button though, because before you would have no idea whether the phone was on or not.
Oh,
but the haptic
that's
phone button
bad.
would at least show you the phone was on.
Yeah. Good heavens.
Um,
Yeah, but I
yeah,
can see the scenario you're talking about, carrying, where sounds may come in handy. And of course, it's just me who doesn't. I know sounds are very helpful to a lot of us. Some of us don't like them, but a lot of us do. But I think that when it becomes excessive, then it becomes such an annoyance too.
and if I get a sound scheme, Corinne, like the MVDA one, say, and I just add the folder, do I need to go in and assign individual sounds to individual events, or will it kind of randomly do it and just pick some?
No, you should assign the sounds to yourself. This should be done manually. You either do it like I did in the demo, or you could just add the names of the file using the config file. If you know the names of the sounds and the names of the file, you could do that using the config file on your computer or on the phone. It doesn't matter. It's a text file at the end of it.
Yeah, cool. I was listening to your demo at double speed when I was on the tube, so I listened to it, but I missed bits of it as we were going through rattly, noisy train parts. But that's good to know.
I listened to all demos either at double speed or 1.5. So for this reason, when someone is talking with me, if I leave it at normal, I feel like everyone is talking like sleepy or something. So
yeah. What I discovered in WhatsApp groups as well, I do the same, but I talk at the speed I'm listening at. So if I then send a voice message, it's probably really quick. Because I don't like voice messages much anyway. I tend not to play them, but I'm in one WhatsApp group that's exclusively voice only. So I speed it up, and then I find myself talking at the speed I'm listening at, which is probably really off-putting and disturbing for everyone who's trying to listen to what I'm saying.
especially to those who are using the double speak.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So I'll be listening to that, but then I'll send a message. It'll sound like this because I've been listening at that speed, and that's what I'm going to talk at. And I'm going to send a message like that. That's the one I've been listening to. Send. Bye.
and just think what that's going to sound like to our podcast listeners
Like a double speed.
listen at too.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, brother.
I definitely do.
Yeah.
That's a chipmunk,
Yeah.
right?
Well, at least it pitch corrects these days. At least you don't get a chipmunk.
Up next is the tip of the week. This is when we show you a trick or two on how to use a certain feature on your phone or within a given app. And now for this week's episode, here's your tip of the week.
And we close this week's episode with a tip of the week. And Warren is going to show you how to enable the auto-filling of SMS codes, which will be particularly useful in those situations where you need one to log into an app or website.
Hi, Warren here for Blind Android Users Podcast. And for episode 175 tip of the week, today I'll show you how to go about enabling autofill of SMS. In other words, although we have some authenticators such as a Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, and all of that, but now and then there are some things that needs SMS verification, and that's what we're talking about here today. In other words, to allow this thing to be automatically filled in for you so you don't have to go looking for it and find a tab to copy and all of that. I'll be demonstrating this on a couple devices, on a Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus and then on my Pixel 8 Pro. The first step on a Samsung device is to go to your system settings, and then what we want to do is to find a tab on General Management. I am already in the system settings, and next I'm going to tap on General Management.
General Management, Language and Keyboard, Date and Time, 23 of 28.
Let's go ahead and tap on this.
General Management, Navigate Up, button, out of list.
The next thing we want to do here is to scroll down and find and tap on Passkeys, Autofill, etc., etc.
Passwords, Passkeys, and Autofill, 10 of 15.
That's what we want. Go ahead and tap here.
Passwords, Passkeys, and Autofill, 10 of 15. Passwords, Passkeys, and Autofill. Navigate Up, button, out of list.
Now that we have tapped on autofill and passwords, here's the explanation that we get.
Passkeys are encrypted digital keys that let you sign into apps and websites using biometrics or your screen lock. Autofill adds info like addresses, passwords, and credit card numbers into form fields automatically. 1 of 10, in list, 10 items.
That's the explanation of autofill. The next item we want to tap on is below here, and that simply says preferred service, and mine is going to say Google because I have chosen Google in the past. And so here,
preferred service, Google, 3 of 10.
And if you didn't have any, it will say none. So go ahead and tap.
Preferred service, navigate up, button, out of list.
Now that we have tapped on preferred service, we are on the screen that says
set a preferred service for saving and entering passwords, passkeys, and autofill information. 1 of 6, in list, 6 items.
And below here, you'll find all those services that have autofill capabilities and the likes of
not selected, radio button, Samsung Pass, 2 of 6.
Next.
Not selected, radio button, Edge, 3 of 6. Not selected, radio button, Firefox, 4. Selected, radio button, Google, 5 of 6.
Mine says Google is selected because that's the one that I chose. Now that you've selected your preferred one, we need to go back. And we go back to the system settings. So I'm going to go back.
Passwords, passkeys, and autofill.
And hit back
Preferred
again.
General management. Passwords, passkeys, and autofill. 10 of 15. In list, 15 items.
Let's go back again.
Settings. General management. Language and keyboard, date and time. 23 of 28. In list, 28 items.
We are then back in the main system settings. The next thing we want to do here is to scroll down and find and tap on Google.
Google. Google services, 18 of 28.
Here we got Google services. Let's go ahead and tap.
Google account. Google, out of list.
The next item we want to find and tap here would be autofill.
Autofill, 4 of 12.
Go ahead and tap.
Autofill with Google, 1 of 3, in list, 3 items.
Upon tapping on that, we're now on the screen now where we could choose the SMS. We have 3 items on this screen. We've got
autofill with Google, 1 of 3, in list, 3 items.
The second one will be
phone number sharing, 2 of 3.
And the last item here, and that's the one we want, has to do with SMS.
SMS verification codes, 3 of 3.
Upon hearing SMS verification codes, we need to tap.
SMS verification codes. Navigate up, button, out of list. Autofill service. Allow autofill service to enter verification codes from text messages. Off. Switch, 1 of 2.
And this is off. If you would like, just tap that and it turns it on. And the last item here will have to do with your browser.
Default browser. Allow default browser to enter verification codes from text messages. Off. Switch, 2 of 2.
And that's it if you're using a Samsung phone. Next, let's turn on to the Pixel phone. I already am in the system settings of my Pixel 8 Pro, and what we're looking for here is an item that simply says
passwords and accounts, save passwords, autofill, sync accounts, 14 of 19.
Let's go ahead and tap on this.
Passwords and accounts. Navigate up, button, out of list.
On this screen, what we're looking for is an item that says
Google, Google Password Manager, Google Pay, Google Wallet, 2 of 15.
And to the right of that is the settings.
Settings, button.
We go ahead and tap here.
Passwords, passkeys, and data services. Navigate up, button, out of list.
Now we are on a screen where we would choose the autofill service that we would like. In other words, just like we saw earlier on the Samsung device, we need to choose either Google, Firefox, Microsoft, Dashlane, or whatever services that we have that have autofill capabilities. Here's the example of what I'm talking about.
Passwords, passkeys, and data services. Radio button, not selected, none, 1 of 7, in list. Radio button, not selected. Authenticator, 2. Radio button, not selected. Dashlane, 3. Radio button, not selected. Edge, 4 of 7. Radio button, selected. Google.
You got the drift. Now, choose what you want, and then we need to go back.
Passwords and accounts. Settings, button, 2 of 15. In list, 15 items.
And we go back again.
Settings. Passwords and accounts. Save passwords. Autofill. Sync accounts. 14 of 19. In list. 19 items.
We are back in the main system settings. And just like the previous device, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus, what we're looking for is to find and tap on an item that says Google.
Google. Services and preferences. 16 of 19.
Here's Google. Services and preferences. Go ahead and tap.
Google account. Google. Showing item 1 of 1.
On this page, though, we've got a couple tabs. We've got a recommended tabs and all services.
Recommended. Tab. Selected. 1 of 2.
By default, the recommended is selected. That's not what we want. What we want is the one to the right of that, and that one will simply say all services.
All services. Tab. 2 of 2.
Let's go ahead and tap here.
All services. Selected. Page 2 of 2.
And now that we have tapped on all services, the next item here in this tab that we want to tap on will be the autofill.
Autofill. 3 of 15.
Go ahead and tap.
Autofill. Out of list. Showing items 1 to 3 of 3.
And we're on that same kind of page that we saw earlier on the Samsung Galaxy. And what we're looking for here is the item that says SMS. But you've got 3 items, and here are the items that I'm talking about.
Autofill with Google. 1 of 3. In list. 3 items.
Next.
Phone number sharing. 2 of 3.
And the last item.
SMS verification codes. 3 of 3.
SMS verification codes. That's what we're looking for. Let's go ahead and tap.
SMS verification codes. Navigate up. Button. Out of list.
And on this page, just like on the other device, we've got the 2 switches on the right edge of the phone. We've got
Autofill service. Allow autofill service to enter verification codes from text messages. Switch. Off. 1 of 2.
And all you need to do is just tap on that to turn it on. And the one below that, of course, is the one that has to do with browsers.
Default browser. Allow default browser to enter verification codes from text messages. Switch. Off. 2 of 2.
And that's it. That's how you go about enabling the autofill service when you get an SMS containing a code to fill in an app or on a banking app or whatever app it is that you are using. All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us.
Well, that's it for this week, folks. Austin, how can people get in touch with us?
To contact us, you can send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. You can join our mailing list by sending an email to Blind Android Users Plus subscribe at groups.io. You can join our Telegram, Facebook, Discord, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The links for everything will be at the bottom of the show notes and also in the video description of the YouTube channel. And also the links are in the websites panel of the YouTube channels.
Well, that brings us to the end of episode 175. Thank you very much for listening to us. Say bye-bye to the nice people.
Bye, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in.
Goodbye. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. Until we see you next week, don't forget to leave us your comments and suggestions via our email contact or using any of our social media sites. Have a great week.